I was just calling about, I guess, how to reach primarily conservatives. Like, my mom kind of is down the Fox News rabbit hole, I suppose. And when I talk to her, I try to provide evidence, like studies and.
Ooh, that's not going to work. That's not
right, and that's the problem.
Yep,
that's the problem. Like, I don't know how to get through to people like that, and it's just very frustrating.
Well, first off, she doesn't believe that your studies are accurate. You've got your studies, I've got my studies. There's no one set of studies is one thing that she's thinking. With the for the most part, I don't know how much you can reach any of these people. But to the extent that you can, it has to be, you have to find some commonality with her, what she believes in, and show her that the conservative ideology is not serving that. And that becomes like sort of the crack. And that's when, you hope like the dam breaks. So I don't know what that is with your mom. I don't know if she feels that like people shouldn't have to, there's a problem with healthcare, or if it's, Donald Trump is an insurrectionist, or whatever it is. I don't know what that one thing is, but you've got to find that.
Yeah. What concern do you think drives her to Fox News? Is there any that stick out?
So I grew up with, like Fox News playing at our house. And my mom was pretty vocal about things, current events, I guess. And so it kind of seems like she just is kind of on the, conservative train of this is the thing that we're outraged about now. So it's kind of just like right now it's, gas prices, and a couple of months ago or 6 months ago, wherever, it was about the Biden administration crack pipes or whatever. So I don't know what it is specifically. It kind of just seems like she's like, just kind of going with the current for a while.
Well, I would say, like with the gas prices, I really do think that the way to address that is you say, the Biden administration is too afraid to nationalize the refineries and to nationalize all oil production in this country. We need, because the problem is that it's an international market, and the only thing that the Biden administration needs to do is to nationalize these things and have the U.S. control it, and say, like, that's the only thing. And they're nervous about doing it because, the conservatives don't want that to be done. But that's the only solution. Like, set it up that way. Don't, like, actually, agree with her premise. Gas prices are too high. And Biden's not doing anything about it. And he should be nationalizing them. Like, this is, I think, like, this is... I actually genuinely believe that, like, the Biden administration just to troll the right should come out and say this, because that's the only solution. It really is. I mean, it is the only solution. We need to control our own resources, and the people who drill for oil in this country, they sell it to other countries, to our enemies, the French. I mean, all sorts of different people. And I don't know if we actually sell it to France, but I imagine on some level it's, and I would start finding ways to do that. And then hopefully she's walking around with these ideas in her head and bumps into something.
Right. So, like, in this case, going back to talking, like, you suggesting finding commonalities, that commonality essentially being like the Biden administration is ineffective at dealing with this right now.
Well, yeah, I would say, like, in any given issue, you can find a premise that you share, and then offer a solution that is actually, like, one that maybe the Biden administration is offering, maybe it's not, or whatever the left is offering, or the center left is offering. Maybe they're not, but that the right would never offer. Like, take her a step deeper into it, and the way that you do that. Like, if you were to get media training, the way that they give you media training, if you're going on to talk about a topic, is they'll say, when you get on there, get into the circle of trust of the people watching you. That's one of the media training things they'll say. Get into the circle of trust. Okay, how do I do that? Well, you agree with some element of the question so that people believe that you're coming from the same place. Because if you say, like, if you deny, like, there's nothing that Biden could do about it. Well, the fact is, there is something that Biden could do about it. It just happens to be too far left of a solution, and they don't want it. But, maybe by the time you're done with your mom, before she knows it, she's actually like, half socialist. And when she shows up at the bridge party or whatever it is, she starts espousing all these things, and God knows what happens at that point.
Bridge party.
I don't know what's going on with her mom. But good luck, man. Hang in there.
Thanks. I appreciate the advice.
Well, first I want to say thank you to you and everyone on the show. Gotten a lot of just really good information from you guys. I grew up in an extremely conservative household, and you guys in the show has sort of helped me break out of that mindset. I think you guys get a lot of unfair criticism for the type of focus you have on the show, and I think maybe a lot of people don't understand the benefit that this show has for people like me.
Peter. And now, hold on. I have a couple of questions to ask you, but let's start with criticism for the show? I don't think that happens.
Can you cite some of the criticism? What kind of criticism are you referring to?
Peter, maintain the distance between the mouth and the phone because of the nature of your phone mechanism. But surely you jest about this criticism. We don't receive any criticism, fair or unfair.
Okay, well, then I guess all those people writing critical IMs are doing it satirically.
I mean, more often than not, I actually do think it is really just a good rise out of us. Certainly, it has been a long tradition. I have taken IMs in one form or another through Break Room Live. Even when I was on the radio, we would go to break and I would put on the Sammy Cam and take IMs. And there was a large contingent of people who would do this just to see if they could get a rise out of me. And they have now, they after 15, 16, 17, 18 years, realizing that nothing gets under my skin. There's a couple things. They're trying it with Emma and Matt. But all right, be that as it may, what is it that led you to this show? How did you come across this show?
Well, okay, so I was saying that I grew up in a very conservative household. When I went to college, I sort of I had a Sam Harris phase, and I think I needed to go through that Sam Harris phase to get out of the extreme religious. But it was a video of Michael Brooks when he paused and took serious his criticisms of Sam Harris, and his jokes aside, he was like, this person is a dishonest guy, and just seeing someone with such a different viewpoint, I was like, okay, I need to look into Michael Brooks and this show, and I've been listening ever since.
Great.
Yeah. And I guess to go along with the other calls today, just communicating with family that is, far right as far right gets. You guys played Biden yesterday saying this isn't your father's Republican Party. Well, at that same moment, my father was texting me how 2,000 Mules completely discredits the January 6th investigation. So it is absolutely my father's Republican Party.
Good. Well said.
Wait, 2,000 Mules? Wait, what did you...
Dinesh D'Souza's, money grab.
Oh, right. Okay. I see. Yes. All right. I mean, what do you say to that when your father does that?
I try and, do the easy debunks, GPS data isn't that, accurate. There's no like actual crime ever like explicitly spelled out in that movie. It's all just like vague accusations. But I've been trying to play on his, right-wing populism. He's sort of a big Tucker fan, and trying to say, like, look, the Republicans aren't for the working class either.
Is he aware of, like, I'm curious, is he aware of, like, Tucker's background at all?
Yeah, and
not that they might care, because Trump's background didn't really affect his perception with.
Right. I'm just curious, like how that fits.
No, and I've pointed out like, oh, Tucker like argued in court that no one who is serious would consider his show news, and my dad just says, well, you have to say whatever you have to say in court to win a court case.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, to be fair, they all of the cable channels do that. But is he aware that like Tucker is an heir to the Swanson frozen food fortune?
I mean, he's aware of it. I don't know if it like.
Is he aware that
internalized
Tucker
it or
went to a Swiss junior high and then got kicked out and went to what is it in Newport, Rhode Island, which is a Tony prep school, and that's how he got into Trinity?
I mean, yes, he's aware of this. I've told him about it. I've sent him the Bregman clip of you're a millionaire funded by billionaires.
Yeah.
And every inch I gain in when I talk to him or when I'm texting him, it feels like, undone by a foot because he watches Tucker every night and listens to Dana Sprager in the day. I just, it's a Sisyphean task of trying to reason with him.
Yeah. So what is it that he likes about Tucker?
I think he likes, having someone tell him he's smart for believing what he believes.
Yeah.
He likes the world is against you and you're smart for watching me. And, I will ask these disingenuous questions and laugh. And
that's something we've said on the show a few times, which is that, it's all about validating one's perspective, and it's about feeling. I lost my train of thought.
Let me just say this. I mean, you are smart to be listening to this program because it's clear that your parents and really, in many respects, the world is against you, and you. I was just gonna cackle too. That's what I was gonna.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I wish, and I've spent many years doing this. I wish I could provide for you how to crack the code with your folks. The only other thing I would tell you, in terms of like mitigating the damage that your parents will do is convince them that Election Day is the day after they think it is.
I would also say give him some Harvey K books on like Thomas Paine and stuff like that. Like I think try to edge out the content that he's over consuming with regards to the Fox News stuff and try to get some other stuff in there that doesn't immediately set off his alarm.
Yeah, and I think if the idea is that he wants some reinforcement that his perspective is correct, because I mean, look, I don't want to overstate this, but I've said this many times, particularly in the wake of and in the run-up to the election of Trump. White guys, I assume your father is a white guy.
He is.
I assume he is probably my age or a little bit older. And
yeah.
And when he grew up, he was in one form or another the center of our culture, the center of his universe, and regardless of what his his class was, he always was able to tell himself that he was not the lowest on the totem pole. And so he now watches those commercials. And he sees the Cialis ad, and it's not a white guy in there; it's a black guy. Or he looks at the sitcoms or the dramas, and when he was a kid, it was Kojak, and it was all these other. It was always just like it was a white guy who was in or it was a show about a white guy, or it was a show about all the ads were. If there was a white woman on there, it was all because she was servicing the white guys in the family. I mean, and he's lost that, and he wants reassurance. And the only thing I could say in terms of a project is try and find something that there is some semblance that you can sort of, coddle him with some measure of support and lead him down a different path. And I'm not sure what that is at this juncture, but I would keep that idea of telling him that the election day is the day after it actually is. and that might be your best opportunity, but appreciate the call.
Yeah, well, I greatly appreciate your show and the work you and your crew do.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
All right, bye-bye.
You almost should do a show specifically for this
I know.
audience of people.
Well,
This
We
was
used
the
to-
parental advice show.
Janine and I used to do that quite a bit because her dad would come on, Carmine. He would come on the show. And we actually brought him in with Gore Vidal.
Whoa.
And one time we had him talk to like a general. I can't remember if it was like Wes Clark or somebody. We had him on and I can't remember who it was to try and convince him. And it was really only the general that he, like that's the thing is that like
That's where you get Amy McGrath from.
here's another white guy but it's a white guy who is literally like, to the extent that there's any type of hierarchy, he's over me, he's over me, and I'm going to listen to him. And so that's that. Let's read some IMs, and then we'll get out of here. We'll have to save Charlie Kirk's dating tips for tomorrow.
And we'll do some of the Bernie and Lindsey Graham debate.
We'll cover that as well tomorrow. Between the 101 and the 5. Yes and yes from improv works really well on doors when talking and trying to persuade people with opposing or really other kind of opinions. It really works. Yes and is a improv technique where you do not deny. And so that was basically what I was saying. Like, find the premise and, work from there.
Like, yeah, Biden's messing up response to X, but he should be doing this, that both
Exactly.
Republicans and
I
Democrats
find that
like
as
Biden.
a helpful conduit because if you like are also criticizing Hillary Clinton or Biden, then you can steer them towards like the right critique. That's but
My favorite appearance, and I know you gotta drop up. But
Can you go to a one shot, Bradley? Yeah.
My favorite appearance on Larry Kudlow's show back in the
Bye,
day.
guys. I have an appointment.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow, Emma.
Okay.
Great job today.
Thanks.
I used to do Larry Kudlow's show, and I was brought on with like 3 other guys or 2 other guys who were like from the AEA and maybe it was Heritage, and it was about Obama's spending, I think, and they were talking about like Obama spending too much and I just came on. I was like, listen, I agree with you guys. Obama has messed this up. He should be spending a lot more. And they literally they didn't know how to respond to this. They had no argument because they never anticipated anybody saying that.
Because all you get elaborated in media is the Democrat versus Republican response.
Right. And
so it's refreshing when you get something that's not that.
Kudlow liked having me on because it was like he had no idea there were people out there like me who would wear a sport coat, I think. But then they were like, you got to drive out. He used to do it out in New Jersey. Like, I don't know where it was in New Jersey. And at one point I'm like, I'm not driving out there for free anymore. Pay me $200.
Also, like, the motivation for doing stuff, you didn't have social media to like capitalize on. So like you were just doing it to like speak on
Oh, I was just going on there to go
talk.
on CNBC and mess with them. I
But
mean,
like,
that was
how?
it.
What was like the feedback? You wouldn't get any feedback. Like,
No one ever saw me on that show.
Yeah, like nobody's like, hey, I saw you.
Never.
Yeah.
Never, ever. I don't think anyone ever said that to me. Because first of all, CNBC, I don't know what the ratings were never that high. They're just catering to like a very wealthy sort of narrow band of people. And I would go on that show and I would do that. I did it a lot. And I never had anybody say, I saw you on Kudlow. But it was like I was just in there just disrupting it. I once went on with Fred Grandy. He was gopher on the Love Boat. I know that doesn't mean anything to anybody. Yep. I might as well have just said, like...
I know the show. I don't think I would recognize it like an individual character, probably.
I'm trying to think. Like, I got into some big arguments on that. Like, people were just like, what? What are you talking about? It was... Yeah. But Kudlow enjoyed it. He enjoyed it to his credit. And of course, he was sober those days.
The party animal.
Yep.